Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Wednesday Show. I'm Hammer, and I'm joined by my two favorite Wednesday Show hosts ever, Jen T. Maxey.
Hello.
And Terry Diamantis. How you doing, Jen?
I'm good. How about yourself?
I was a little bit behind today, but I managed to get the show off. How you doing, Terry?
I'm all right. How about you?
I'm still okay.
It just feels weird not to ask after someone asks me. So even though you just said 10 seconds ago, I do feel compelled to return the question.
What I have to do, as soon as I can, is I have to fill up my tumbler because I forgot to get something to drink. I've been so behind
I thought you meant the website Tumblr. I'm like, wait, you're doing Tumblr?
No, that's a dead site, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Once they got rid of the porn of all things on that ended that site almost immediately. No, my cowbell tumbler from my Yeti. I was, like I said, I was so behind the eight ball this evening to get the show going that I didn't get anything to drink. So, why don't we go ahead and say hello to everybody in chat before we get to the topics?
Sure. So over on Rumble, we have JB, we have Pierre Alexander, we have Corsten, we have Cynic, and we have Jack Gunsty, and I believe that's everyone.
One of these days when we do this, we'll just like say one name and then the next person will say the next name, and it'll be like tier, hammer.
Yeah. Well, I don't say hi to Hammer because we already just did that. I don't mention his name in chat, but
I just do it to be funny. But hi, Hammer. Hi, Tier. Hi, Rotten. Hi, Terry. Hi, Jeff. And the stream. Hi, Mike. I keep it in. And I do believe that's it. Yes. My list is always smaller.
I should make an account just called Mark so that you have to say, oh, hi, Mark.
I said Mike.
Okay.
I didn't say Mike R, though, I admit. I said, hi, Mike.
No, Mark, as in M-A-R-K, like from the room.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Oh, hi, Mark.
I swear I didn't hit Alyssa. I swear I didn't hit Lisa. Oh, hi, Mark.
I think about that every time Monkey streams. I think about that because Monkey says, say hi, Jack. And H-I-J-A-C-K, hi, Jack.
Yeah.
Jack never says, hi, Jack.
Okay.
Oh, anyway. Topics. Let me click on the button. Topics. The topics for tonight. Ceased and confirmed. Could be one thing there. Ceased and confirmed. Ceased is, I don't know if you've heard the news, but there's been a deal for the ceasefire between Israel and Hamas.
Probably because that was it Hegseth guy said that he would happily kill every member of Hamas if he could, and it's like maybe that made him a little more willing to negotiate.
Yeah, a little bit on the Republican side have been that way. A lot of people, including the left-wing media, are crediting Trump with this because Trump said if it's not fixed by the time you get in office, there's going to be hell to pay.
Yep.
So I think Hamas took him serious. Biden's trying to take credit for it because Biden's currently in office, but according to what everyone's saying, it's been a bipartisan thing between Biden putting pressure and Trump's mouth. That's where we're at now. So
I mean, this is going to sound bad, but I wouldn't give Biden credit for anything. I don't think he knows what he's saying. I don't think. Now, I'm not going to say it's not the Democrats. Maybe his Democrat handlers have had something.
Biden's office, as opposed to Biden himself.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
maybe Bill. Maybe various Democrat politicians have been instrumental in securing this peace, but it wasn't Biden.
Well, they're supposed to get rid of, or they're supposed to return, to not get rid of, 33 of the 65 currently alive people. And that's supposed to start say Sunday. So 4 days from now, 5 days from now, we should see people arriving at the airport if everything goes as planned.
Yeah, I mean, I think they would be smart to take Trump seriously because, I mean, do you want to take the chance Like
Well,
if he's serious, if he's not serious and you take him seriously, then there's no real bad consequences. If you call his bluff and he's not bluffing, then suddenly you're a crater in the ground.
I don't think Trump would bluff about something like that. I mean, I understand he says silly things to test the ground. We're going to buy Canada and we're going to buy Greenland and all this kind of stuff, silly stuff. But when it comes to something serious, I don't doubt what he says, what he means. I'm thinking to myself, he's firing up the F-35s right now.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
No. But my point is, whether he's bluffing or not, they would be idiots not to take it seriously, just in case. Like if they like he's bluffing and then they don't take it seriously, they could very easily become a crater in the desert. Whereas if he is bluffing and they fall for the bluff, then like just okay, we have to live with peace in the region for 6 weeks.
Yeah, there's a lot of times when he says stuff, he kind of it doesn't take much mental capacity to know what's serious and what's a troll. If you understand the man and how he thinks, which nobody on the left can really do, but the right can see it pretty clearly. So, you know, buying Greenland, possibility. Making Canada another state, no, that's just bullshit. No. You know, and people on the right can see that pretty clearly. There's a couple people who are kind of stupid, but we could pretty much tell when he's fucking around and when he's serious. He's not fucking around with Hamas. He's not. He's going to send in Delta Squad and the Marines, and he's going to wipe that fucking area out if he doesn't get results. He's not wasting any time.
Well, that's kind of the reason I was hoping he'd be elected. It's not that I want to blow out a bunch of people. I'm just tired of it. I'm tired of the whole world having to revolve around ancient crap that nobody gives a crap about anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a stereotype, but fuck it, glass the area. What do I care?
There just comes a point where you get tired of it. It's not out of anger. It's not out of maliciousness. It's just like it's a never-ending cycle of suffering.
Yeah.
At what point do you just be like, I don't care anymore. Fuck it.
Yeah. Someone has to convince me, because I probably have a bad take on this, because there is Hamas and there is Palestinians, but I think there's a lot of complicity when it comes to the Palestinians, and I'm not really sure if there's any real big difference between the two. I think Palestinians basically are
the impression I've gotten.
A less violent version of Hamas, because they did vote to have Hamas run their country. So you can't say that they're not.
My response to that is they got themselves in the wrong place if Trump is bombing them into the ground.
Yeah. So I don't have any problem with them wiping Hamas out instantly. And if there's going to be collateral damage, well, that's regrettable and you don't want it, but it's going to happen. So it's.
And Frosted says they're going to rename Greenland to Redland, and I won't be able to tell the difference.
They're going to call it Trumpland.
Well, I saw Shapiro saying that, but Frosted is pointing out that because of my color blindness, they're going to rename it Redland, and I won't notice the difference.
Well, like I said, I don't. You know, you could definitely tell that he's interested in it. He's mentioned it before. This is not anything new. For the last 7 or 8 years, he's been talking about it off and on. But the thing with Canada is just crazy talk. It's not a big deal.
No,
the thing that makes me laugh about Canada is the people in Canada, and I'm using the proper name. I usually call it Canada, but I'm calling it Canada for this discussion. The people from Canada are threatening us. That's what makes me laugh. The whole thing became funny to me when we get people from Canada who don't realize who we are. They just think we're the guys below them on the planet, and that's not who we are. Everything that Canada deals with when it comes to us, we have the upper hand on everything. And it's not to gloat, because but it is the truth. I mean, they're going to attack us with what? We protect them and their military. That's our job, to protect them. They're going to attack us with what? Horses?
Most of the people talking right now don't know how much the rest of Canada kind of hates them.
Oh, I don't hate Canada. I don't think anybody in America hates
I'm not
Canadians.
talking about Canadians hating Canada. I'm talking about Canadian citizens hating the people speaking like that because we think they're part of the reason we're in this boat in the first place.
Probably right.
No, I think it's pretty clear that Trump also plays Plague Incorporated, and that's his real reason for wanting to buy Greenland. He, like many others, has been so close to winning the game, only to have Greenland shut its port before it got infected. And he's like, no, I've had enough. No, I'll buy the damn thing myself if I have to.
I understand why he wants to do it. It does make sense. People who said, well, let me look into this, have come back and said, you know, it's probably actually a good idea because it prevents access to us from Russia and China. It's a good strategic place to be. And it's full of all kinds of precious metals and stuff. So it's actually a good idea. And they could benefit from our economy.
Well, that's kind of why Denmark is like so upset that Trump wants to buy it. Like they want to keep it.
And they don't really have a claim on it.
Yeah, they don't do shit with it. They kind of ignore a lot of the problems there.
No, I'm not disagreeing. I'm just saying that's why Denmark is like kicking up a stink because they don't want Trump to have it. They want to keep it for themselves, even if they are neglecting it.
Well, they were the second people there. Americans were first there, but Americans never colonized it. They showed up and like, hey, this is a nice place. Well, we got to go. And then the Danes showed up and they said, well, we're going to just take this and make it ours. So they don't really have a claim because they weren't even the first people here. We were. But like I said, you know, we'll see what happens. But if Trump pushed it, I would be, a lot of people are saying you probably should. So I was like, okay. Okay.
It'd be better for Greenland. They get more protection.
Oh my God, yes. Oh my God, yes. If he were to buy it, then they have the full protection of NATO like that.
Plus, I mean, would you rather be with the US or the EU? That's an easy decision.
It's not like the Danes are bad or anything like that. Most of the Scandinavian countries are pretty cool, and I don't have a problem with any of them, but they just aren't gonna develop the Greenland. They haven't so far, so why would they change now?
Yeah, exactly.
They also haven't really been contributing into the war shield just the same as everybody else. You know, like Trump has a reason to be complaining when everybody else isn't paying nearly as much and you guys pay so much. And Greenland is a risky spot. Based off of where it is, it's a risky spot. So for them to sit there and ignore it and be like, oh, well, you know, we want it now.
Danes could use some money.
And then they'll just waste it on socialism.
They should have a vote. They should tell the people of Greenland, here's your options. You can stay with the Danes or you can come to the United States. What would you like to do?
From what I've heard, Greenland, like the people of Greenland are very much on board with Trump buying it.
Yeah, they are.
That's why they won't.
Yeah, that's why they went to the vote. Exactly.
Well, we'll see what happens, but it's going to be entertaining. Just like everything that's going to happen in the next 4 years is going to be a blast.
Oh, yeah. Oh, for sure.
It's already been entertaining just to hear the main reason why I voted for Trump has come true for me is that the left has just lost their fucking mind. And it's great. Yep. It's the best thing about me voting for Trump. It's like, yeah, they're losing their minds. That's one of the biggest reasons. I know it sounds petty, but it's entertaining. It's fun to watch these people just not be able to handle it.
See, that's why if I was English, I would be voting for Andrew Tate. You get the left and the right freaking out if Andrew Tate wins. Both sides hate him.
Yeah, I watched Philly D today, and he had mentioned Ben Shapiro and how Ben Shapiro did a whole thing about how Tate's an asshole. Yeah. And people in Philly D's chat or comment section came back and said, I can't believe I'm agreeing with Ben Shapiro that Andrew Tate is an asshole. And Philly D said, well, you're not agreeing with Ben. Ben's agreeing with you. You already had his opinion, and Ben has kind of come around to toxic masculinity.
Trusted says you could probably list every citizen of Greenland in one super chat. I believe the population is like 50, 60,000. It's very, very small.
Yeah, it isn't much. And like I've mentioned before, Greenland isn't green.
No.
It's cold there. It's cold here. It is like 4 degrees here. It's 22 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's like 4 Celsius or something like that.
Aren't they also the one with the active volcano? Or like semi-active?
I thought that was Iceland. I thought that was Reykjavik.
Maybe.
That makes more sense. I would believe it more readily that it was Iceland. Like, I don't know. I don't have any information, but
I just know one of them has it. I just can't remember which.
I would assume Iceland based on what little I know of both places.
I know Iceland has geothermal, so it would make sense that they're volcanically active.
Yeah.
Someday I might actually think about, if I was ever going to travel, I would like to spend like a week in Iceland. Because I've heard so much about it, and I think it would be uniquely different from anything I've ever experienced as an American. Not like most European countries wouldn't be, but that would be specifically like, what the fuck is going on here?
You just want people to not be able to pronounce your location, that's all.
Oh, Reykjavik.
You want to go to Reykjavik and be like, haha, good luck pronouncing this.
I'm calling from... You're calling from where?
Exactly.
Reykjavik, of course. I'm not even sure if I pronounce it right, because only reason I know how it's pronounced is because Craig Ferguson used to talk about it in his joke.
Yeah.
So that's the only reason I know how to pronounce it.
I'm assuming Reykjavik would be the pronunciation.
Reykjavik?
Yeah. But I mean, I could be wrong. I've never found out. I've never done research onto it or anything, but my brain interprets that series of letters as Reykjavik.
I went down a big rabbit hole the other night trying to figure out how to pronounce Fungi.
Fungi.
Well, that's how you pronounce it, but that's not. It's 3 valid ways to pronounce it. All 3 are valid. I was looking for which one is right, and what I found was these 3 of them are right.
So I know fungi.
Right.
I don't know what the third one would be.
Fungi with a J.
Fungi.
Yeah, fungi is a valid
I
word.
would never have picked fungi. That sounds wrong to me.
I was watching you know how Wired does these Wired tech support things? Have you ever seen the videos?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they did one with a biologist about misinformation on foods and dyes and all that kind of stuff, and she mentioned fungi.
Oh,
so
okay.
I began typing that. For a biologist, you're not pronouncing fungi correctly. And before I hit enter,
yeah,
I went out to Google and I said, by the way, how do you pronounce fungi? And it said fungi. And I was like, not fungi? Wait a minute, what's going on here? You know, because I thought it was FUN-GUY, fungi. Like, he's a fungi.
Yeah, that's how I've always pronounced it.
Right. Well, I found out that fungi and fungi is the British pronunciation of it, and fungi is the American pronunciation. But she uses a J, which apparently is how biologists pronounce it. All 3 are valid. So I just immediately hit the backspace key.
Joke.
Yeah.
Like, fungi always ends up being in a joke somewhere, you know?
Yeah,
mushrooms, so he was a fun guy.
He was a fun guy.
Yeah.
And Mr. Yes's fungi sounds like a Japanese name. It does a bit. Fungi Yakamoto. I can see it.
But yeah, that's how the people in the medical field who deal with this kind of stuff, that's supposedly how they pronounce it. You know, us civilians don't know we have our own way of doing
fungi
it.
just sounds wrong. Like, if I heard someone say fungi, my brain would not interpret that as an alternative pronunciation of.
I would think it's a town in Japan somewhere.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't know what it was. I would ask, what the hell is a fungi? And then when they explained it, like, oh, a fungi. Right, a fungus. Okay, I'm with you.
Yeah. It's almost what you almost get to the point where you say, well, whatever the plural for fungus is, that's what I'm talking about.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, I think those videos are really interesting. I don't know if you've watched them, but they have tech support for like anything you can think of.
I don't know if I've seen the videos, but I'm like aware of them. Maybe I've just heard you talk about them before, but
yeah. Well, they changed the name.
I'm familiar with the idea.
Yeah, they changed the name. Like, if they're talking about movies, they'll say tech support for movies, and the screen will come up and it'll say movie support, and it'll knock the word tech out of the way.
Oh, okay.
So they, replace it, movie support. So they'll have like an actor talk about something.
Hmm.
It's not like the Google one, where I think it's Google where they do Google searches,
Hmm.
and they'll take like an actor and they'll say so and so answers the internet questions for Google searches, and it'll be like
Right.
I don't know, some famous actress, Sydney Sweeney or something like that. It'll be all
Yeah.
questions about her, or they'll have two people like they had the guy who plays Hawkeye and the guy who plays Green Lantern. Those two actors were going to star in
I
the
couldn't
movie.
even guess what their names are.
Yeah, it was.
I couldn't even guess what they look like.
Jen, help me out here. The guy who plays Hawkeye. No, not fun guy. The guy who plays the actor for Hawkeye from the Avengers. What's his name? Chat's going to get it first. I bet you if I look over in chat, they'll come up with it in 12 seconds.
Probably, yeah. There's somebody in our chat who does more of Marvel and DC and comics.
But those two guys did a Google search video like that. So I actually saw that one.
Sorry, I've been lost on the Marvel.
Jeremy
for
Renner.
A long time.
Ryan Reynolds. There's the two names. Thank you, Frosted and Tier. Yeah, Jeremy Renner and Ryan Reynolds.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you recognize the names? Do you know who I'm talking about now?
I know who Ryan Reynolds is because he was in Two Guys, a Girl and a Pizza Place.
Yes.
So he's the guy from Two Guys, a Girl and a Pizza Place. Yeah, I know who he is.
He's also Canadian.
He was also in that. He was in that movie. He was a movie with the word "guy" in it. It was New Guy or something like that.
Maybe.
It was somebody had actually coded the Matrix, and he was a character in the Matrix.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a fun movie.
I haven't watched any new movies for 20-something years. So if he's been in a movie, I haven't seen it, but I do know that he was in Two Guys, a Girl and a Pizza Place.
People are just now naming random actor names. Alan Alda, Donald Sutherland.
I do know who Alan Alda is. He was in MASH.
Yeah.
And Actor McActorface is a great name. So
Donald Sutherland was in the Body Snatchers movie. He's been in a lot of great movies. Donald Sutherland. Is he still alive?
I have no idea. Let's have a look.
This is a thing where
he is not.
Oh,
Donald Sutherland died last year, the 20th of June, 2024.
Ryan Reynolds was in Van Wilder. I remember that.
Okay. Kevin Bloody Wilson. He's an Australian musician.
What about him?
Cynic mentioned him. Kevin Bloody Wilson. I don't know why Cynic mentioned him. But, he has a song called Dillagaff, which stands for "Do I Look Like I Give a Fuck?"
Leave it to Australia. So anyway, we got off of Ceased, but we're pretty much done with that anyway. We actually covered the topic.
We'll,
what the hell's going on? Where am I? What's even happening?
We'll hang our heads in shame after the stream. We broke the rules.
Talking to Chad, covering topics. What the fuck's going on?
Yeah.
I think that's the 5th time I've cursed in this stream. I'm gonna roll tonight. So the second topic confirmed. I don't know if you guys have been watching the confirmation for Trump's cabinet.
Not really.
But Hegseth, the drunk military officer, was today, and he ripped the Democrats a new asshole.
Good.
So he'll be confirmed. Even Shapiro was like, "This guy's awesome. This guy's going to do this." Yeah. He's all rah, 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 cheerleading behind him. I'm more interested in see what happens with RFK and Tulsi Gabbard. They're going to get in. I don't have any questions about that. But I can't imagine the Democrats going after Tulsi. They'll want to because she's a traitor. They're all traitors.
Yeah.
But they'll want to go after her. But how are they going to go after her? A decorated military female who's Hawaiian? He checks all the boxes. How are they going to go after her?
And Cynic says, speaking of Kevin Bloody Wilson, I prefer "Hey Santa Claus, you can't." So yes,
Norm
good
McDonald.
old Kevin Wilson.
Biden left office today, and you are feeling reinvigorated. He didn't leave office yet. That will be the 20th, but he doesn't even know he's in office. Come on, give me a break.
I still
Good.
sorry. Well, I just can't help thinking that the Democrats should be more focused on something else at the moment.
What?
Like California.
The-
Because like
I saw a tweet
everything
today.
about that has just been a demonstration of this is what you're going to get. This is going to be your town. These are their priorities, and it's never going to be you.
No,
Don't think money's going to save
but
you.
mostly peaceful.
I saw a tweet today where someone said, "So we're up to 67,000 acres," and there was a couple of spaces, and underneath he wrote, "That's a good start." Oh man, I was like, even I wouldn't tweet that. That's a little bit too far. So
No, I mean, as long as he was
It's a good
joking, I
start.
don't have a problem with it.
I use that for attorneys. You know, whenever I talk about attorneys, and if attorney gets
No, if he's genuinely wishing death on everyone in
no, he said nothing about the
California-
people. He's speaking directly about the amount of damage done. That's all.
Yeah. Like if he's genuinely wishing harm on people, then no, that's bad. But
Yeah,
from the sounds of things, he's just joking, which is fine.
we're up to like 24 people, right? 25
Mhm.
people. That's not good, man.
I'm not looking at that with like glee or anything. I just don't want them to do the exact same thing that they've done to Maui, which is the minute it's no longer interesting, they dump the story.
Of course.
Yeah.
I still haven't forgotten about Maui. I can't fix their problems, but I still will bring it up because a lot of people died.
Still don't really know what started that either.
I just assume people. I assume every fire is arson. It just saves time.
There are some
Cases.
question about Eaton being arson. So
Yeah. No. I mean, obviously, there's other things that can cause fires, but
yeah,
like,
they're trying to
my
blame the electric
baseline-
company.
My baseline assumption is that it's arson until it's proven otherwise.
I wouldn't put it past climate people to do that.
No, not in the slightest.
Yeah. So I did see a video on Twitter about and it was quickly noted, community noted, but it showed a guy driving along the side of a road, shooting gasoline onto the berm, causing a long flame all the way down. And they were like, "This is how Eaton started." And the communities came right back and saying, "No, this is from 3 years ago. It's a controlled burn. This is all perfectly legitimate. This is not anything like that." So
controlled burns are actually very important.
yeah, it's what we should be doing. If we didn't do, that led to this. But the start, I think there's some I don't know, gravitas towards the possibility that there was some kind of electrical thing. There was some guy who did some barbecuing that they say was part of it, but I don't know if that's the major part. But someone said somebody hit a traffic pole, an electrical line came down, sparked, and caused it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe.
So,
But I'm just saying, like, my baseline assumption is arson because most of the time it ends up being arson.
it's arson because humans.
Yeah.
It's also because of the amount of images where they saw people starting fires in the city. Like people were exploiting it to loot. Like if I start a fire here and people flee, I can loot here.
Right.
I think it was a mix of both. Like it could be partially because we had that up here too. Some of the fires that were up here were natural and some of them were man-made. Some of it's arson. Some of it was homeless, because there are homeless people in Los Angeles who cook their food outside. So they build a campfire. But
no, the fact that it's celebrities losing their homes makes me think, boy, wouldn't it be a pity if there was evidence linking me to P. Diddy in that burnt down house? Oops. Guess we'll never find out.
Well, we'll see. Eventually, we're going to find out. They're going to do enough investigations that they'll finally eventually get to what I hope will be the truth. I don't think there's going to be a cover up in this case.
But I
And
think the other thing that they need to understand that's important is everything that followed up afterwards was also part of the problem. This is also stuff that we've been screaming about up here. Like, it's not just the controlled fires. How is your city being handled? Like, where are your resources actually going? All these people who are like, climate change this, we need money for that. And then you realize none of that resources went to fire safety. None of it went towards like controlled floods, you know? So when you have mountains leaking, they can control that.
You shouldn't get yourself into the wrong place and need to be pulled out of a fire. What's wrong with you, Jen?
Right?
That lady.
The Frosted said the left will still vote for Newsom. That is a terrifying thought. But yeah, no, that firefighter lady, holy shit. That is such an evil bitch. Like, just to be so casual about, well, if your husband's in a fire, sucks to be him.
He shouldn't have been there. He shouldn't have been there. Yeah. We don't rescue people that are in the wrong place at the wrong time. That's not our job. Our job is to let those people burn.
But apart from that,
I wonder if she would have said that if it was a woman example instead of a male example.
probably not.
No. Because?
No, because the woman would feel comforted by the fact that she looked like the lesbian saving her. And then,
Right. I have a feeling that this person who said that, I don't remember her name, would be happy to save a lesbian.
Christine Larson is the firefighter's name.
Christine Larson. A name destined to go down in history.
Which is amusing because her surname has arson right in there, which is not what you want from a firefighter.
Probably not. There was a guy, oh man, this is centuries ago, who was in the fire brigade. They didn't even call it a fire company. It's called a fire brigade. That's how long ago this was. His last name was Pyre, Pyre.
Yeah, geez.
And it was found out that he was actually setting fires.
Well, there you go.
Yeah,
He was well named after all.
Tonight's music options: A Fine Young Cannibal. She drives me crazy. Hot Chocolate, Sexy Thing. I just threw it in there for people. Think You in Your Hand, and Right Said Fred, I'm Too Sexy.
Well, you'll be happy to know there is almost no risk of a tie. It is a very one-sided vote.
These will be these are 4 different genres of music. They're you have modern rock, you have old disco, you have Pink, whatever that is, pop, and Right Said Fred is modern dance. So I mean, 4 different genres right there. None of them are rock.
Good.
Which is kind of why I picked them.
6 says new TV show idea. Are you too heavy for a lesbian? And Tia says, what about my dead countryman that was killed in the LA fires? I don't know anything about it. If there was an Australian that died, then, that's sad, but I didn't know him.
Wow, we got 10 votes already. You guys are awake.
Yeah. And it's still pretty one-sided. It's evened out a little. The leader only has 60% of the vote instead of 83% like it did before, but still pretty lopsided. I don't think there's much chance of a tie.
That's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah.
I'm happy to see the numbers the way they're turning out. That's not of course, it's not what I expected. So of course, that's what we're going to get.
Of course.
Of course. All right. Well, we were talking about in the pre-show over on Rumble, and we probably want to talk about it a little bit here. Is the whole deal with TikTok? TikTok's days are numbered. Five more days, I think it is.
I don't know. I don't know the details, but
I believe it is. Like 5 more days and bye-bye TikTok. Now, the question is, how many people use it? I do not. I haven't even reserved the account for Minions there yet.
No, I've not used TikTok myself, but I mean, if the question is how many people use it, a lot.
Yeah.
I would still say it's still popular, but somehow I got the impression over the last year that it wasn't as popular as it has been. like things do die down in terms of popularity, like YouTube did. Every platform has.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I just when they started talking about shutting down Twitter like over a year ago, I just got the impression a lot of people were already kind of drifting from it anyway, like naturally.
Mhm.
It's also the way you build on there. It is entirely more random. You know, so it is harder to kind of build a thing on there. It's why you get so many weirdos.
Yeah. Of all the platforms, I like Twitter the most because I could pretty much say anything I want to say.
Mhm.
You can't do that almost anywhere else.
I didn't want to give any more apps my personal information, and so I said no to Twitter, or not Twitter, to TikTok. I know they all do, so I'm not surprised if, you know, I get pizza advertisements because of shit that I'm on. But I'm tired of giving it to
I actually don't get ads on Twitter. I think Brave's ad blocker is good enough that it shuts them down. So like, works for
Well, that's
me.
good. That's good. Yeah.
Do you use Twitter on your PC?
Me, yes.
That's why. I use Twitter
Yeah,
almost
well,
exclusively on my phone.
No, my phone has Twitter purely so that my phone will make a beeping sound when someone notifies, like when I get a notification. So someone tags me or someone that I've got notifications for actually tweet something. But the only reason it's on my phone is to make that ping sound so I know, oh, someone is doing something on Twitter.
Yeah, gotcha. Well, I don't have a TikTok of my own. Like I have a presence for all of my own personal stuff. Like there's all that stuff out there for Hammer, like my YouTube channel and all that kind of stuff that I don't produce any YouTube videos on. But and you know, Twitter and all that kind of stuff. Even Rumble I have an account there.
Yeah.
But I don't have anything on TikTok. I don't have a Hammer account. I don't have a personal account, my real name. That's on. I don't want to have anything to do with TikTok.
And Green Badger says he has this thing about directly supporting the CCP. I don't even care about that. I just don't like the platform. It's like, if the CCP makes a really good video game, I'll play it. It's just that, I have no interest in TikTok. That's the only reason I'm not on there. Is just lack of interest, not any principled stand against China.
Well, I mean, I feel the same way about TikTok. Like, yes, there's the CCP thing, and like, yeah, I said what I said. I don't want to give any more than I have to, but I also just saw it as a platform where, like, for every person that I know on it that's a normal person, I just saw it like bringing out the worst mental illness in people.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, no, I'm good.
Now, as far as I'm concerned, I have a Facebook account. My data has already been sold to everyone in the world that will pay for it. So, like, me giving it away to a different place is not really that.
At this point, you're like, if you want my information, just pay for it, fuckers. Like, Jesus, give me money.
Well, why would they do that?
Right?
But no, I mean, my information's out there. I can get all the targeted ads. They can target all the ads they want to me. Brave will filter them out, so I'm fine.
The only thing they'll do with me is be like, oh, she's a conservative woman. Boo, you're a conservative woman. I'm like, okay. I don't know that matters anymore.
Well, we'll see in 5 days what happens.
Yeah.
If they want to get rid of ByteDance, I'm 100% behind it. Take all of their software, not just TikTok, but take all of their software off, because I don't see any reason for trying to have any information about anybody who's in the States.
I mean, like I said in the pre-show, if you do ban it, people will just use VPNs to still access it. You can't ban these things that unless the public wants it to be banned, you can't ban it.
Or good.
Well, to answer Mr. Yes's question, I don't doubt that there's some people up here who do TikTok, so I could see some people being affected by it. But I don't care, because I used to work in retail, And if the banning of TikTok means that the retail people have less packages that are pre-opened that are shoved in the back of a counter because somebody was wanting to make a video of them eating it or licking it, because they still do that. The ice cream people who are like, I'm gonna take a container and then like lick it and put it back in on camera. Yeah, they exist, and they a lot of that was TikTok. So there's this little part of me who's like, I'm okay with that because it'll be less people eating soap and deodorant. The things I would find, Terry, I had. Oh, I'd go home like.
Yeah, but like with regards to banning TikTok, there's a reason that you can ban alcohol in Saudi Arabia, but not in America, because when they tried it in America, it didn't really go too well. But in Saudi Arabia, they all believe in the Quran, which says don't drink alcohol. So you can ban alcohol in Saudi Arabia because the people want it banned. If the people don't want it banned, the government can't ban it, not very effectively anyway.
Well, another thing on the list of things to be addressed is porn. Supposedly one of our representatives introduced a bill to ban porn.
That's never going to happen. Well, if if they try to ban it, people will circumvent the ban.
Oh.
You can't ban something that people don't want banned. 11
states have gotten Pornhub to pull access from that state. So if you live in Virginia, you can't get to, I don't know if it specifically is Virginia, but just as an example, if you live in Virginia, you can't get to Pornhub. You go to pornhub.com, we'll let you in.
Well, no, doesn't mean that they've banned all porn, though. They've just banned Pornhub.
No, the Pornhub thing was because the law said that they had to verify people's ages. And the only way they could do that would be by storing the personal information of the ID card. And Pornhub didn't want that responsibility, because if there's any kind of data breach, that would be absolutely catastrophic. It's one thing to lose your Pornhub username and password. It's another thing entirely to lose your fucking, social security number and license. So Pornhub didn't want that kind of responsibility. That's why they don't provide service for those states. But I mean, people in those states can still access Pornhub if they really want to. It's not that difficult.
It's VPN all over again.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, I thought what they wanted Pornhub to do was to put a screen up that said, if you're 18, push this button.
They already have that.
Well, a lot of sites do, but you know who doesn't? Pornhub.
They don't? I just assumed that they would.
No, they don't.
But if that's all it takes, then that's a 2-minute fix. The Pornhub would be stupid not to add that in if for some reason they don't.
But is it a matter of principle for them?
I don't think so. Companies don't have principles.
Is it worth losing all those people? Because it's not just Virginia. It's 12 states that have done this.
Well, that's my point. It's a 2-minute fix. And if that's literally all it takes, add a splash screen that says press this button if you're 18, then they would be stupid not to add that button in. Why wouldn't they? What possible reason would they have not to do that?
It might also have to do with the uploaders too. Making sure that the uploaders are proving that they're of age.
They already have to do that, I'm pretty sure.
You hope so.
I mean, I'm not saying that there's no child porn on Pornhub. I'm sure there's people who circumvent the safeguards, but I'm pretty sure just as a basic legal compliance, they have to make sure that the people on the site are over 18. So I would be very surprised if there's not already some kind of safeguard.
I wouldn't be surprised if what they were asking them to do was just make that more verifiable, just because it is something that I would expect them to want to do, because anytime you talk porn, you have the fear of human trafficking.
And no, I mean, Opinionated Scotsman says the degenerate cunts that run porn sites don't have principles. I don't people companies don't have principles. If the cost of adding a click here if you're 18 button is less than the cost of not being able to provide service for entire states, and it will be, then they'll just say, okay, let's do the thing that makes us the most money. Let's put the fucking button in if that's what it takes.
Well, we'll see what they're going to do, but it seems to be growing. It was started with like 2 states, and now it's up to 12, and I think it's going to continue. You're going to see at least half by the end of 2025.
Yeah, but they can ban it all they want. If the people don't want it banned, then they'll just circumvent the ban. Like they'll find less reputable sites that have porn, or they'll use VPNs, or they'll find some way to see the naked ladies that they want to see. It's gonna happen.
People don't realize is that, I know it's like verboten to say, but men aren't the only ones looking at porn.
No,
There is a significant female audience, so
It's not something that I'm denying. And I honestly don't care if people watch porn. I'm only on the side of making sure that everything is properly vetted and verified, because it's the thing with porn. Like, it does. I respect the places that have really worked hard to remove the idea that they're human trafficking, period, because they're just trying to make a product for people.
right.
And I have no issue with that. Go ahead. But it's the part where you have to be careful with that line that, yeah, I'm okay with legal people looking into it and being like, are we actually doing right by the people who are making these products? Because that leads to bad things. Outside of that, I don't give a shit. It's like any other thing. Like, I expect our construction workers to have proper equipment too. It's safety things that I care about.
No, I mean, like, if any individual person asks me, should I do porn? My answer will always be no, you shouldn't. But given that people will do porn, like, that's just an inevitability, then yeah, I do think there should be like ways to make it safer for, let's face it, mostly women who do porn. Like, there are obviously male porn stars, but they're the minority of people.
And I mean, when you think safety, like, safety going both ways is just making sure everybody's clean.
Yeah, that is a definite thing that needs to be taken care of.
Like, it's just, it's not my world. I've never really been involved with it because it's not for me. But I've always had the opinion that some people are going to do it because it's always going to be a product. It is always going to be a product.
There's always going to be a demand and there's always going to be a supply. You can't stop either.
It's just better to do it in such a way where it's just safe for everybody, and then it's none of your business. After that, it's none of your business. Like,
Scotsman says porn is very subversive. I mean, sure, but subversive or not, there's a demand for it, and the demand will be met. There will always be someone willing to meet the demand. There will be. That's human nature. You can't have a goal of zero vice in the world. That will never happen.
I'm concerned about how people are trying to deal with this. I saw Sydney Watson get on and say, there's too many simps out there, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, so you're blaming whores.
The people who pay you?
Yeah, you're blaming whores for being whores because men will pay them for it. How about if they're not whores to begin with? What I actually said back to her was, when we deal with a problem like this, we go after the people supplying the drugs, not the addicts.
Well, those are the ones who are more evil. Like, the ones exploiting the addicted are worse than the people who are addicted. That's just
my concern is
common sense to me.
Why do you want to get rid of it? Just saying, well, I don't like it, it's evil, whatever. What's the real reason behind it? Because there's got to be a solid reason for wanting to get rid of it, because porn's been around forever.
Yeah.
And both sexes consume it.
Evil, when I said evil, I was referring to the drug dealers, not the porn stars.
Yeah, no, but I mean, it's been around for a long time. It's always going to be around. People are horny; they're going to look at porn. That's just the way things are. So I agree with you.
When you say it's been around a long time, it's been around precisely as long as humans have been around.
Yeah. But I mean, as far as commercially, since Hustler and Playboy and all that kind of stuff.
Right. This might be coming from the aspect of the US that is actually still old-fashioned. Actually, it's not. I don't know if the words I'm using are necessarily right, but like, if you go to Europe and say you go to a gym and you go to take a shower, the women in that shower room are going to be naked. It's kind of just normal. But you go to the US and no, absolutely not. You're not. No, at no point are you ever visually naked in front of another woman either. It's just not. I mean, some places might have that with kids or something, but over here we're very still like. We're still a little bit like that. You know, when we see women who are flaunting themselves, even women to a certain degree get a little bit like, oh, that's a little too much. You should, you know, I don't believe in covering yourself like a nun or like a Muslim woman or anything like that. But there's times where like I understand that like some women still recoil from it because it's just not appropriate most of the time. You know, but in terms of like entertainment, or if you're telling a story, acting as though people don't exist is fucking retarded. Hookers exist. They've always existed.
I mean, you can't eliminate vice. I mean, you can, you know, you can
certainly
condemn
can't. You can't legislate it if that's your point.
Yeah, but like you can't eliminate it. Like you will. There is no way you can get 0% porn usage. It doesn't. It's never going to happen. It won't be legal. Like the harder you try, the bigger the illegal porn market will be. But there is absolutely no way to create a society where no one has any vices ever. That is not humans. That will not happen.
I think that's what it's been. It's been this little side of the Christian side who've gone a little bit too Puritan, and it's dishonest a lot of the time because most of the people talking, I'm like, you're a bunch of hypocrites if you think I should be taking that from you.
It's the same with all vices. I don't think personally you should become a drug addict. I think that's probably a bad decision, a bad thing to do with your life. You will never create a society with 0 drug addicts. Never going to happen.
Well, there's questions about you know, being able to make your own choices and freedom and stuff like that are built into it, and that's why I have a little bit of a grudge about this, that it's kind of a method of control. Right now, there's not a great number of babies being born. There's not a lot of of marriages happening and all that kind of process, and that's because guys weigh everything they do based on the advantages of one over the other. Do I spend my next 6 months trying to find a woman and getting into a relationship and all the risks that I have, or do I just jerk off and it's done? I don't have to worry about it anymore. You know, I mean, right now jerking off seems to be winning.
It's a cost benefit analysis.
Right.
Is all it is.
That's correct. It's a risk analysis. Do I want to risk this with a human and all the good and bad things that come with this, or?
Well, I think my one is probably closer because it's not necessarily like there is a risk involved, obviously, but like for me, the reason is it's more effort than it's worth. Like the improvement between jerking off and having sex is not worth the colossal amount of effort I would have to put in to acquire a girlfriend. Fuck it. That is nowhere near worth that amount of effort for what I perceive to be that little benefit. So, I mean, there's a risk involved as well, but for me, it's just a cost-benefit analysis. Like, for what it costs, I'm not getting value, so I'm not interested.
Yeah. And a lot of men feel that way.
It's also the other side of the coin is the women who are complaining like this, a lot of them are single. And I'm like, as much as you're complaining about these men seeking out porn, you don't have a husband either, because that does actually mean having sex with a man.
Ew.
Yeah. If you get married, like it's kind of implied. That's kind of something that you might do. Maybe not all the time. I think both sides have been vipers for a really long time. We've developed bad habits and we just don't know how to reconcile. Like we'll figure it out. Humans will, but like I think both sides might have to, you know.
Yeah, I mean, my theory for how we're going to reconcile this is the West will collapse, the Muslims will take over, and they don't have all this gender bullshit, so they won't have anything to reconcile. That's my prediction. That's how I.
Well,
think
that only assumes that China doesn't get there first.
Sure, but whoever it is, the West will fall because self-inflicted wounds.
Ross is giving me shit for saying right now Jerkoff seems to be winning.
Yeah.
I told him I fully endorse that, but I don't have a porn collection. I've always. Do you actually want to spend time collecting porn when it's fully available on the internet? I don't have a porn collection, but that's something to think about. Like, do I want to actually collect porn? Do I want to spend my time wasting it on? I got a girlfriend. I don't ever have to look at porn. She's more likely to look at porn than I am.
You don't want to be a curator at the porn museum?
No, I don't get time for that. If I'm horny, it's like and understand the different names here. Our gen and my gen are not the same gen. Okay,
right.
But
obviously,
if I'm kind of in the mood, hey Jen, it's right over there, kind of deal. You don't have to look at me. I'm not saying anything bad about you.
Say hi to her.
She's reading something. She just kind of glanced. So I don't have to worry about having a porn collection. This doesn't really apply to me, especially at 62 years old. So
yes.
I don't really care, but it just seems like I don't like the infringement part of it. It's the same thing with guns. It's the same thing with abortion. All these things that trigger me is the control aspect. That's what really I don't like. I don't like being on people's fucking thumbs. If someone tells me I don't want you looking at porn, my reply is fuck you. I'll look at whatever the hell I want to look at, whenever I want to look at it. It's none of your goddamn. I mean, it's the same thing Jen was saying earlier.
And Rotten Corpse, I basically think, has hit the nail on the head. A lot of people have problems with moderation. Yeah, I mean, almost every vice, like gambling, porn, even drugs, as much as I don't like them, they're fine if you do an appropriate amount of them. Like, if you go to the casino once a month for fun, that's totally different to betting your life savings on a single hand of blackjack. There's like acceptable levels of every vice, and just stay within those limits and you'll be fine.
It's one of those things, whenever somebody starts talking like that, and maybe it's because I was watching a guy who did a really good job describing narcissistic traits, that I just catch these things really differently than I used to. And the minute I see somebody needing to control everything that their partner or somebody that's not even related to them in terms of their entertainment, like yes, I have my opinions when it comes to kink. Yeah, I don't want to know about it. But you know what? I don't have to look at it. I could move on and do something else if it's not for me. And as long as the kink doesn't involve someone who's a vulnerable person, period, I don't give a shit. Because it's none of my business. It's two consenting adults. That's the thing that's important. No longer my opinion. Because it doesn't involve me.
Yeah.
But I noticed... So I noticed this from Melanie Mack, because she's been going after the Gamergate and attacking her own people. And she's upset because one of the characters in GTA is a hooker. I'm sorry, she's a hooker.
No, not a hooker in GTA.
No, not a hooker.
Tell me not that.
And she's like, well, this is just pervy stuff. Guys don't need to see this stuff so they could go off and jack off. I'm like, lady, this is part of the storyline in a game. They're not.
Why does she care if a guy jerks off? Was that in her fucking business? This is a girl who's like so devout and Christian and all this kind of stuff, covered in tattoos. What does Leviticus say about that?
And then
you shall not desecrate God's temple. And in that phrase, he's talking about the human body.
Right.
She should shut the fuck up.
The other thing she did is something that I've noticed from a lot of really tiny titty girls. And I'm not saying this to be mean. I'm saying it because they're ignorant on the subject. But Lara Croft, the latest movie, when they made her like a tiny titty girl, at no point as a big titty girl, like the last time I was that small, I was 13. When you're big, it's like instant. You have maybe a year or two before you're like fully sized. There's no in between, really. So if you're depicting her like that, I'm like, oh, so you think she's 12 then? Good to know.
Yeah. Well,
It's-
Melanie Mac is what, 100 pounds soaking wet?
I'm not
She's-
saying that
she's-
to be derogatory. It's just what it is.
Yeah.
I always point out that it's very funny. Her name is Melanie, but she isn't at all.
We are at 10:01. How the
We
time
are.
flies.
It does.
Yeah. You guys got anything else you want to cover before we get out of here?
I'm good.
No, I'm good.
You actually covered topics today. I'm quite proud. I have to
She
say.
did.
All right.
We'll have to delete this this stream. We accidentally covered the topic.
Yeah, that's okay. Every once in a while, we can make a mistake and do something right.
Yeah, exactly.
Thanks, fam, as always, for chatting with us tonight. If you can't wait for the next Wednesday show, remember the Minions are live every evening except Tuesdays, with most shows starting at 11:30 p.m. Eastern, 6 days a week. Host and start times are linked in the description down below. Don't forget about the Rumble pre-show. That stream will start generally around half an hour before YouTube, 8:30ish. We will be back next Wednesday at 9 p.m. as usual. I hope you guys enjoyed the show, and we'll see you again next week. Have a great night, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.